Hello, I'm Eric Schmidt, the host of Talking Schmidt Podcast.
Hello, I'm Greg Burmeister, the co-host of Talking Schmidt Podcast.
You can check us out wherever you get your podcasts. We've had some great guests like the hilarious comedian Jay Jordan,
New York One's Pat Kiernan,
and this psychopath named Ryan Bynack, who hosts the Bothering the Band podcast. Find us wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, this is Tim from Strand of Oaks, and you're listening to Bothering the Band here on the internet.
Oh man, we're so happy to have you here. You had asked before we hit record where we're at. We're both in Florida, but just different parts.
Very cool. I have good memories of Florida. My grandma and grandpa were both teachers, and their wondrous retirement was kind of in like a double wide, but it was like our most amazing spot as kids. It was in Plant City, Florida. Do you know where that? It was kind of near Orlando or something, but yeah, I have very good memories. Yeah, yeah,
They have the Strawberry Festival in Plant City every year.
that's it. And I'm a fan of strawberries, so it was like very classic kid memories. But yeah, Plant City, and I also have had a lot of fun in Florida, but Plant City holds a special place in my heart.
We had a question on here. Are you a fan of strawberries? So you already got to it.
Oh my God. I have like I've successfully taken out certain vices in my life, and now I'm replacing them with the joy of fruit. Like my wife and I are like in a big pineapple phase right now, so like we're just obsessed with pineapple, and that's kind of my wild life lately of like, we really want to get into kiwis next, but I'm not sure how to peel them. I'll have to learn how to like eat a kiwi. Admittedly, don't know how to eat a kiwi.
I think you can just cut you're gonna lose a little bit of kiwi, but I think you can cut off the sides kind of as best you can and
I'm
go
ready.
for it.
I'm ready for
Yeah.
kiwis in
Oh.
my life.
You're just supposed to cut it in half and scoop it with a spoon
That's it. Avocado style. That's
or a
yep.
paring knife or a vegetable peeler ahead of time. But this diagram could be also an avocado. That's what it looks like.
That's number one on our grocery list next time. Kiwis.
Oh man, what like a dorky way to start this podcast.
Fruit. We just love fruit.
I love it. It's a perfect way to start. And it makes me think of this question. Do you guys follow the typical avocado cutting technique of, you cut it in half, you whack the seed with the knife, you take it out, and then you kind of like checkerboard it and scoop it out? Is that how you do it?
My wife Sue is like a sommelier when it comes to picking avocados. I never trust me because I'll shop for them and they'll just be like not either way too ripe or whatever. But she does that exact technique. I have a tendency as a kid, I love knives. Like I love pocket knives, but I'm also kind of unaware of my surroundings. Oh yeah, I've got so many knives on my desk, but I try to but on top of that love of knives, inevitably I cut my fingers constantly. And now that this is kind of my main source of income, my wife even suggested I avoid because avocados, I feel like it's so close to a lot of things that are kind of important for me to continue to work, but
Yeah, you can go right through and then you can't rock out for a couple weeks. Yeah. I follow up is, do you know anyone who scoops or cuts an avocado like a psychopath, like this way, or leaves the seed in and tries to scoop around it?
It doesn't seem efficient, but I mean, they might have it down so well that it's a great delivery system because I had this joke recently. I grew up in like northern Indiana and I absolutely loved it, but we weren't like exposed to the larger outside world sometimes. So I think it was a very late age when I discovered that guacamole was avocados. I just thought guacamole was what it was. And it wasn't like I was 30, but it was like 19 or 20 when I built the bridge between the two. I was like, oh, avocados or guacamole. That's crazy. Because I mean, we knew all about the guac, but there wasn't a lot of like avocados eaten as a kid. I don't remember. This is the most I've ever talked about food in the 20 years of my career. I love
I
this.
Mhm.
I identify with that so much because I growing up, we grew up, Abby and I have been friends forever. We grew up in Central Florida, and I always thought like I was just so late to certain things. Like Nutella, I didn't discover Nutella until I was
Absolutely.
25. I thought there was three types of apples until I was
Yep.
30. Like I
Yep.
was just like, what is this? Yeah, guacamole was like that was late in the game. I thought Red
Very
Lobster
late.
was fancy until I was 30.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember when the Chili's opened, it was a big deal in my town. It was still like a half an hour away, but a Chili's opened and my very sweet grandma and grandpa got dressed up to go to the Chili's. It was a big deal. It was a big restaurant. And yeah, that was I also remember my dad came home from Sam's Club. I was probably like 12 years old, and my dad was like, "You guys heard of bagels?" And then just had a bag. You guys heard of bagels? No. What are
They're like
those?
they're like bread donuts.
And his love of bagels that day began.
Oh man, this is so crazy. I love when a guest comes on and then it's natural one and then you already get into things that we have on our question list.
Really?
I have this question. Ready? Did you have a Bennigan's? And how do you say the name of your town? Goshen or Goshen?
Goshen.
Goshen. Did you have a
Yeah.
Bennigan's in Goshen?
See, Goshen was kind of in the outer rim in Star Wars terms, kind of Tatooine to a lot of stuff. So we had a Bennigan's in South Bend, but that was about an hour drive because you really wanted to make the trip for the Monte Cristo because that was a big deal. It was the Monte Cristo. But I also remember like I moved to this town in Pennsylvania called Wilkes-Barre, and I remember Bennigan's was definitely one of the first dates I took my wife on. It was like 20 years ago, and I was like, I'm throwing down big. I'm gonna get the Monte Cristo. This is gonna be the date.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Bennigan's.
It was either that or the turkey O'Toole. That was another sandwich there that I liked.
Ooh, yes. I think another random Bennigan's fact, I'm pretty sure Jason Isbell worked at a Bennigan's. So that's one of their proudest ex-employees. So
I think it started somewhere in the like Midwest too. So I think there's only like five left, and they're
makes
all like
sense.
one's in Chicago.
I'm looking it up. There are seven. There are
Seven?
Seven,
there-
that's it?
there's
Oh.
several that are also called Bennigan's on the fly. So I'm assuming those are takeouts. But yeah, otherwise they're in Illinois, Michigan, North Dakota, Iowa, Texas, two Iowa and two Texas.
I am in Texas. I could probably drive
Oh.
13 to 14 hours to
They're
Texas
in
is big though.
Borger, don't know how to say that, and
Ah,
Monaghan's.
probably far away from Austin.
I probably mispronounced both of those as well.
Oh man, people are gonna write in and be like, "It's that's not how you pronounce it."
Yeah, you know.
Oh, we're having fun already. Okay. We talked about Florida, and you're in Texas, you go sleeveless a lot. You have tattoos. Are you putting sunscreen on?
I put sunscreen on, not enough, but I do have like it's probably a dermatologist wouldn't like this, but I do kind of just I get to a certain tone and it just stays. Like I put sunblock on. We have a neighborhood pool. I do that, but yeah, I have like a chest tattoo that's as brilliant as the day it was put on. But yeah, my sleeves, my arms, I just cannot stand sleeves. I don't like things tight around my neck, and I feel real weird with sleeves on. I Even when I wear them now, I'm just like, what is this extra thing doing here? I cannot stand this. But
That's a perfect segue because the next question is, do you cut the sleeves off your tees right away, or you wear them a little bit and then you cut them off?
Instantly.
And
I just like I just have like I think it's called blowing the doors off or something, but like I just I try and remove the doors, but there is like a fashion epiphany I've finally given into and I've flirted with all my life. I love fashion and I love dressing all different kinds of ways, but I've lived in Austin now for 5 years and I really enjoy heat. Like I love being hot. But I still haven't figured out the wardrobe of 105 degrees and humid. And I realized that wardrobe lives in the head shop. So I've just been buying like the lightest linen, kind of like hippie shorts. And oh my God, it's a revelation. It's changed my
I'm
life.
gonna have to follow that because moving back to Florida, I still haven't wrapped my head around how goddamn hot it is. And I'm like a jeans
Yeah.
guy. So like in the
Yeah.
summer, everyone's like, why are you wearing jeans? I was like, I just don't know. But
Yeah. But trust me, from someone who wore, I call it like my uniform. I used to tour for like 4 months with motorcycle boots, one pair of like tight jeans. And like that was I would sit in a plane for 9 hours in like tight, skinny jeans. And I just like, I got to this point where I'm like, I have to liberate myself from the constriction of fashion. And so friends of mine from Philly were in town, maybe for like or something. And it was the summer and I met them for coffee and they all looked great. Like they looked so fashionable. They had great jeans on, great shirts, cool hats. But it was Austin in August and I rolled in. I think I had a bathing suit on, flip-flops, and pretty sure I had like a button-down shirt. And I was like, this is how that was part of the joy that I've gotten coming to Austin because it's like anti-fashion in August. Like you can try to look cool, but everyone's going to look real sloppy at the end of the night. Everyone's going to be sweating. So you might as well just find ways to keep it as cool as possible.
oh man, I'm gonna try to embody that this summer.
Yeah,
My summer
it
resolution
works.
is to wear more shorts. That like no joke. I was like, I'm gonna wear more shorts this summer.
But I understand. I mean, it also like we could turn this whole discussion into like a real like uh foundational thing that I think I faced a lot of like I had that same dilemma and I really made a big deal. I was like, I can't wear shorts, like this is my thing. Like this is like I dress like this and this is who I am. And it's like a liberating feeling to like it's like honestly a small step in the progress of like liberation from patterns in your life. Like, because I felt like I was kidnapped by indie rock when I was like 15 and then just like held to some certain standard that it was fun, but I'm 41 now and I'm just like, I've got kind of sore ankles from years of playing shows. So I just wear awesome sneakers now. Like I just wear Reebok pumps on stage and I'm like, no more motorcycle boots, none of
Oh, I
that.
love it. We're all so similar. We're just different pains. Yeah, I agree with that. It sounded like a joke with the summer resolution, but I'm like, yeah, maybe I just need to shake things up a bit and
It's
like,
kind of beautiful.
let loose, wear flip-flops throughout the day. I fucking we all like work from home and
Yep.
Abigail, embraces it more than I do, but I'm like, I'm wearing black jeans, a black Misfits shirt, a cardigan
Yep.
in South Florida, right?
Yeah. And I like being like I grew up and my grandpa was like an old school farmer and we used to work together and do construction projects and he would always be in like Dickies, a flannel and work boots and drinking scorching hot coffee in the summer. And he always told me though that and who knows if science backs this up, but I realized like, yeah, he drank hot coffee because if you drink ice cold water, your body has to scientifically raise that temperature back up to 98 degrees, and you're like using extra energy to be like, oh, I have 30-degree water in my body now, and it needs to go back up to 98. But I like drinking hot coffee in the summer. That's why this is this is a whatever this conversation right now is exactly how my mind works. Like truly, like it's just like a non-linear waterfall that is exactly my speed.
Perfect. I mean, this is exactly the show. And
I have heard this, by the way, about drinking the cold stuff. It should be room temperature or warm.
Yeah.
And also, I'm the same way. I don't like cold coffee. I drink hot coffee. I went out for coffee earlier today, and my friend got an iced coffee, and she was like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "No, nope."
I'm not like adamant about many things in my life anymore. Like my definitives are shrinking, but coffee is a miracle thing, the way that hot water pulls the essence of a bean out. And I believe it should be drank. If I make one stance today on this podcast, it's coffee should be drank hot. But it's just, I fully endorse this message.
coffee should be drank hot. I'm going to write this quote down.
Yep.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely.
Oh, this is fun. All right. So here we go. Real dumb question, but I think you'll dig it. Have you ever been to a bookstore in New York City called Strand?
No, but I think it's come up on Google searches years ago. It'll be like the Strand bookstore.
It's the best bookstore in New York City. Highly recommend.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's everything
I'm
is at it.
obsessed with bookstores.
It's an independent. Trust me, we know. I'm surprised you've never been there, but next time you go to New York, it's in Union Square, right off of Union Square. It's massive,
Yeah.
and everything's discounted. Like even the brand new books are maybe like
Oh,
$5 less. They make their own prices. It's
yeah.
like the oldest independent bookstore in New York. Um, it's something anytime I go to New York or when I live there, anyone who would visit, I'm like, we're going to Strand. Boom. Um, so yeah.
How much do you like? Because I have like a philosophical approach to shopping at especially like used bookstores or record stores. Like I just want to find it like by happenstance. And I don't like to do research if they have it in stock or having them to order specific record or something. Like I've had this manifest itself before where I just want one unbelievably niche thing. And when that happens and you find it, it's just like a glowing orb of joy when you're like, I wanted to get this book. And like right now, I'm obsessed with T.S. Eliot's Four Quartets. And there is a thing on YouTube where Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi, reads the Four Quartets and Wasteland. Just and like it's one of them. You're hearing Obi-Wan read the greatest, some of the best written word ever. But it got me. I'm not that knowledgeable about poetry, and now my must get at a used bookstore is T.S. Eliot Four Quartets. So that's my hope.
Oh man. So we've talked about this before on the pod, is that there's a few places you go to and you let the universe tell you, or like you were saying, the alternate is manifesting it. And it's happened to me multiple times where I'm like, I want that book, but that is a thrift store book or used bookstore book. I won't buy that new. And then like a couple of weeks later, I'll just be at a thrift store and I was like, oh, it's there. Holy shit, And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I know it's a cut. Like it happened with like The Old Man and the Sea recently. I was like, I want to reread that book, but I'm not going to buy it. It has to find me,
Yep.
And lo and
Yep.
behold, fucking found it at their store for $1. I was like, thanks, universe.
Just my wife and I are pretty. I fully admit it's one of my most embarrassing current parts of my life is my lack of reading.
Mm-hmm.
Like I and it's something I could just decide and do. But I, as up until like a few years ago, from a kid, I just would have like my brothers and I would take books into the shower and like have the book where the soap is because we just couldn't stop. Like I had great in like my grandma was a teacher, had a lot of teachers in my family, so it was just like I don't know why I stopped. I've recently read a few books, but I used to go like I'd have two or three rolling at the same time. I'm just like flipping back and forth with books, and I have like I have evidence in my, and it's kind of weird when I have a lot of books in my house and they're just always staring at you.
Oh yeah.
Though especially the ones you haven't read, they just have like a glowing light emanating from you. Like, remember when you bought me and you wanted to read me and like haven't yet? I was like, I know, I need to just like, oh
Oh man, you are speaking our language. The books
yeah,
never get
oh
lower on the nightstand. They just you have to one you have to make, and this is totally Abby talking here. You have to make peace with it.
yeah,
You have to make peace that there are worse things to buy. Um and also like with like life, it ebbs and flows. Like, life goes up, life goes down. So you right now you might not be reading, but who knows, in a couple months you might just
yeah,
go through, like burn through 10 books, and then
yeah.
that's your nugget. I have, we were talking about resolutions. Every year I'm like, I'm going to read more this year. I'm going to put my phone down this year. So I've actively at night, the phone's away. I'm reading. I read slow too. So,
Slow is
yeah,
good.
you can
I
always jump
my
in.
Yeah, and but slow is good because I consume books at this hectic pace where I don't have a lot of attention. I just like consume them and then I think that's why I've read some books probably 10 times because I watch them, I read them like I watch movies. But my wife, on the other hand, she like you remember reading levels in school? Like my wife is on a very much higher reading. Like I love to read, but my wife reads these books that I just she is so advanced in what she reads and so knowledgeable of like current literature, which I lack. Like she knows the equivalent of like the cool records out. And but when it comes to books, and I'm just fascinated by the like how modern literature is really kicking ass. Like there is just like we couldn't find the new. I think, forgive me, I haven't read them yet, but the new Franzen book. There was like a new Jonathan Franzen book or something, and it was like sold out at all the stores. Like, this like reading is back. It's like so I'm fully for it. Like Austin has there's a great store kind of like the Strand you were talking about or Powell's. They have book people and it's like three stories of just book heaven. So we're spoiled down here.
Oh, I'm writing this down. We are book people. We are poetry people. Poetry, like you said, poetry is having a resurgence on like Instagram and stuff like that. And whatever you feel about poetry, or if you're like me, as a poet, like kind of snobby towards it, I'm like, it's still a good thing that
Yep.
exists, and
Yep.
it's in the technological zeitgeist or whatever,
I mean, because it's such a powerful message that you can deliver in such a short, you can have two lines that have the impact that a record would have if they're, you know, especially if the person is looking for them. So I think it's great. I don't know. I think people like if they catch a few lines in Instagram amidst the sea of chaos that social media is right now, I think like good to have something in there.
Totally, totally. Okay, we're gonna keep rolling with some dumb questions. What are they drinking at the party at Monster Lake?
I don't drink alcohol anymore.
So me neither.
I would say they're drinking uh I think fruit, some kind of like maybe fruit juice, but okay, here we go. I'm inventing the drink at the spot. The party at Mont official drink. So you take Topo Chico specifically because it's got the correct bubble. Oh, so have you all had Topo Chico?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So here's a new drink. I'm the Party at Monster Lake drink: Topo Chico, guava juice, or I think it's called uh, guava. It's like a Hawaiian mixture that's like guava, orange, and mango or something. But you take a really tropical juice, mix it with Topo Chico, and then maybe put a little bit of tahini in it too. I feel like that would be a wild drink. A little salty.
That's a great answer. So I don't drink booze either, and that's why I asked because I thought it'd be fun to see what
Yeah.
the sober monsters are drinking.
Yeah, the sober monsters. I feel like and I stopped drinking, but I still have certain patterns with like I'll be like writing a song or working late, and my wife will get up the next day and I've got like 7 or 8 seltzers just packed down, and I'm so hydrated. It's but I still have that tendency to like click, slam one, but it's you're just wake up really hydrated. You're like, I'm extremely hydrated this morning. This is great.
You wake up in the middle of the night to pee. I do the same, no fucking joke. I do the same thing, and I have to keep the like basic, like non-flavored ones because at a certain point in the night, I'm, like 5 soda waters in while writing. I'm just like, I don't
Yeah,
want
you're
the
7
taste.
seltzers
I
deep,
want
bro,
the
and just
I want the
living it.
habit. I want the habit and not the real and the bubbles. That's
It
hilarious.
really, I mean, it helped me when I stopped. Like just
Yeah.
the Pavlovian like click, that and like, but I don't know. I have like I never drank non-alcoholic beers. I have no interest. I don't have anything against them. I just never had a interest. And but the only thing that happened was when I first stopped drinking and I played a show, I had Perrier backstage and the salt in that is pretty high. So I drank like I was just nervous, so I drank like a gallon of Perrier or something similar, like almost like club soda. And I felt like I drank salt water. Like I went on stage, I was like, why am I so I feel like my face is caving in from dehydration? But yeah,
Oh
seltzer.
man, that's fun. Okay, forgive this real dumb question. I'll be surprised if either of you know what this is. Carl Showalter or Michael Showalter?
Um, Michael Showalter, Carl Showalter, if I get it correct, is like a Hollywood, like an old school Hollywood guy, like a director. There's not many Showalters.
There's
I know
not
Michael
many Showalters.
Showalter, obviously from the state and
Hmm.
everything. We have to be related because there was only like one Showalter that came from wherever in Europe, and there wasn't like a bunch of Showalters. So we're probably related very distantly, but
So yes, you're right. Michael Showalter is, from the state, director. He's directed some great movies now. But
Wet Hot American Summer.
Carl Showalter is Steve Buscemi's character in Fargo.
What? His last name is Showalter?
In
Are you
Fargo,
kidding
yeah.
me? I've seen that movie. How did I never catch that? Wow. You just don't hear it. There was like a baseball coach, Buck Showalter,
Yep.
that had
Yep.
that name, but we had my grandpa and my dad had a very small Buick dealership in Indiana, and it was Showalter Buick GMC trucks. So I think I'm pretty sure this is why it happened. My great grandma and grandma would make handmade like Showalter Buick merch, like shirts. And I'm pretty sure one year they purposely lined it up so when the yearbook pictures were taken, we were wearing the Showalter Buick shirts. So
Do you still have any of those? That's amazing.
yeah, I got my dad's jacket. But my dad was like, my dad he's like 6'5" and he used to be a real big guy. So even now when I wear my dad's clothes, it looks like I'm wearing my dad's clothes because I would rock it a lot though. But it looks like yeah, it's very big on me.
Oh, that's hilarious. A grown man still like looking like I'm wearing my dad's. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, my dad has like size 15 and a half feet. Like
Oh wow.
I come from like very large people on my dad's side, but then my mom is like 5'2", 5'3", and she comes from like really hairy Viking stock. So that's kind of where I got my two brothers are like these tall Adonises. And then I came out looking like a relatively handsome troll underneath the bridge. I always kind of feel like I'm the handsome troll that asks you if you could cross.
The handsome troll. Oh
The
man.
handsome troll, not an ugly troll, just like a mildly attractive troll.
That's the name of the next single for the next album.
Absolutely.
The handsome troll.
Absolutely. I'll get working on it.
So
Sweeping the nation, the handsome troll.
that's the tour. Uh,
Yeah.
you mentioned your luscious hair, your luscious locks. I have this on the list. Are you conscious? I'm not gonna. This is how I'm gonna preface or say this question. Are you conscious of the conditioner and shampoo you use, or are you just whatever?
I stopped washing my hair about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I because I have really dry hair, I think.
Mhm.
So it like, and it also doesn't get very greasy. So what I put on it is kind of like I'll wash my hair and I'll just put this like shea
Mhm.
butter, something kind of mixture, and I just goop it into my hair and then kind of let it fly. I do not spend a lot of money on hair products. I've recently learned there's like beard oil that just feels awesome because it smells. I love nice smelling things. So that's another thing I'll reveal on this podcast. I love like taking baths. I love like all those. I've always loved taking baths, and I just love good smelling things. I think I enjoy my sense of smell more than my ears. Sometimes it's just like there's so much you get from a smell that's just
Yeah.
so deep and hits you in this like the deepest psychological way if smells hit you. And so there's a lot of good smelling things in my office here. I always try and make it smell super nice. Palo Santo. I do a lot of frankincense, I think I burn. But my wife says it smells like a really old cathedral. My room smells like an ancient temple most of the time.
I think that's cool. I'm on board for that too. I'm gonna add that to the summer resolution. Good smells.
Yeah.
Good smells. Okay. What do we got? You ever have a friend named Toby?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never met a Toby. I don't think. Maybe in passing, but I've never had a Toby enter my social life.
Okay. Good
And I
answer.
feel like Toby connotates a real nice person. It's a nice name. So I would like to meet a Toby someday.
Let's manifest Toby right now.
I'd
Just
like to meet a
good
Toby.
a good bud named Toby.
It's a fun name to say, Toby.
Yeah.
I thought like I don't know. I might be 100% older than both of you, but when I was like in elementary school and middle school, the name to have was like if someone came in and their name was like Shane,
Oh,
it was
okay.
just the wow. It's or Sean or Shane. That was the cool name. Every Shane or Sean I ever met are just real cool, super cool.
I don't think I've ever been envious of it. However, I must say that we are the same age as you.
Oh, fantastic. You both look a lot better than I do, so kudos to your lifestyle.
we're handsome trolls, like that's
Exactly.
just what we
Exactly.
are. Okay, so do you carry a wallet in your loose
No,
fitting clothing? No wallet.
I've completely converted to the fanny pack a few years ago.
Across the
Me
chest?
So
too.
I'm not, I don't have the confidence. I'm still 90s hip,
Okay.
hip hug and fanny. But
Well, that
I
takes
do
confidence.
appreciate, I, yeah, I just, it's so effective, efficient. Because what I did before is I would wear like a jean vest, a jean jacket vest, and then that had pockets so I could keep, my phone in the inner pockets, and then I just have a little magnet clip or a little money clip for my cards and stuff. But the fanny pack has been as much of a revelation as the head shop shorts. It's just, I've got everything in there. And my joke is there's a liberating force because like I literally played like a murderous biker on TV. So I feel like if I've already done that, I'm just gonna wear the fanny pack, be completely fine as how I look. If anything, it might be nice because I feel like I don't have to disarm myself as much. Because when I used to look like a bounty hunter, and then I'm a nice guy, but I'd walk into a store, I'm like, I'm just a nice guy. And now with the fanny pack and the flip flops, I feel like I've eased the look a little bit down.
You mentioned the playing a motorcycle guy. Do you know how to ride him? Are you a motorcycle guy?
No,
No.
my mom, I think I was in the car and my mom witnessed a really bad motorcycle accident when I was little. And my mom just looked at me and I was like 7 years old and she's like, never ride a motorcycle. And I was like, okay. And I feel like I was like, I made that promise to my mom. And I was like, so even on the show, I told people, I was like, I've never shot a gun, held a gun, and I've never rode a motorcycle. So let's do this. So it was a lot of learning, but I had like a stunt double and everything that was extremely good at riding a motorcycle.
Oh man, that's cool. I also think it's very cool to break certain stereotypes. No offense, you look like a motorcycle guy. I have like a bunch of tattoos. I live in suburbia. And I get, certain things and I'm like, no, I'm just a nerd, like a nerd dad.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. If you want to talk about the expanded Star Wars universe literature, then absolutely. I don't know and part of it was all of my family growing up were like pure motorheads. Like my uncles love cars, my dad loves cars. I loved all that stuff, but I just kind of like didn't get into cars and didn't get into a lot of that stuff. And I just got into music heavily. But now in my life, it's such a gift to have that knowledge. And I wish I would have paid attention more because like
Yeah.
my dad still, he just went to the Indy 500 and that's like a big tradition in my family. And I had never been, and I probably should go at some point, but yeah, no motorcycles. I have very little interest in cars. If I could own a car by any choice, it would be the Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am, only playing Def Leppard. I mean, that's kind of what my dream is, like Scumbag Paradise. But I don't think I'll ever pull the trigger on a Trans Am, though. I think.
You know what that says in the best way possible is that you're a simple, confident person. Like you're like, I don't need all that other shit. But if I had the means, I would get this very specific thing,
Yep. Just that one, the black and gold one with the Firebird just looking awesome. That is
badass.
Because my uncle was like, my mom's little brother was only like 10 years older than me, I guess. So he was, when I was, in the late 80s, he was, in his early 20s, and I was, like 8 or 9 or whatever. And he used to roll up in a Firebird and I remember one time he rode up and he gave me, I was like 9 years old, and he gave me a Van Halen tape, Def Leppard, and I can't think of the other band. I think the band Firehouse, which didn't really last in my level of interest, but I loved them. So like still have I roll really hard for all that era. Like kids wear mullets now, and I was like, this is crazy, mullets are back.
Yeah.
I remember like proudly having a rat tail. We would say, we'd be in like first grade and be like, how long is your rat tail?
How long is your rat tail? Oh, yeah. I had mine way too long. Like
I've seen some recently.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I have seen some rat tails.
I've seen them on like
has the style my nephews they've got such cool hair. It's like, but the one thing they're missing is the lines. I keep telling my nephews, You gotta shave the lines. That is such a tight look. So
Yeah,
tight.
dude.
Maybe put 23 in the back. I had Jordan's number shaved at the back of my head. Every start of school year, I'd get Jordan's number shaved, ready to go.
Oh man, that's amazing. This is so much fun. I mean, we're shucking and jiving here. I'm gonna just keep going. Did you grow up in a Miracle Whip house?
Oh my gosh. I just had this discussion with my wife. 100% yes.
We know. That's why we were listening.
When my mom's mom was from the South or North Carolina, and we inherited her. I love the tang. Absolutely love the tang. Put that in like a potato salad.
Yeah. I love the tang. Do you know why I asked that question though, for real?
Why?
Miracle Temple. It's the name of or Miracle Focus. I'm sorry. Miracle Focus is the name of the new album. I fucked that up, but
Miracle
what I mean.
Temple sounds good though. Yeah, I think I don't think the record has a lot to do with mayonnaise.
Yeah.
But it does connotate extremely good memories. My grandma making like egg salad. Wow. On a hot day.
Man. Oh, you know what? We talked about smell for a second, and that's what it just triggered me is that smell is associated with memory. So I'm like, you saying that egg salad, I'm like smelling it and going in my own
Yep.
way. Like we all have
Yep.
those time
Oh
travel
yeah.
devices. And music is we talk about this a lot on the pod, is music is also a time machine. And like no joke, I listened to Goshen 97, like a bunch in my life, but also listening to it leading up to this, I was like, I know exactly where I was when I heard that song for the first fucking time. And I'm back there right now,
I wrote it right here on this. I still have the exact same computer. Oh gosh. And I have the exact same equipment that I've made I started with heel, and I just still, everything somehow is still working. Like my laptop still works. And so it's wild to just be sitting in the same chair, same desk, same computer that like Goshen was written on like probably 11 years ago now, because that record's 10 years old now. Just wild. Just
Wow.
wild.
That's crazy shit. Back to the Miracle Whip, syrup and butter in the fridge or out of the fridge?
I actually have it probably connects to my deep issues with anxiety. So my grandma kept it out, but I'm just always afraid I'm just gonna get like a foodborne illness. So I just try and play it safe and keep it in the fridge. Syrup, on the other hand, I love it, but it's one of the only things my wife doesn't like. So it's just not in the house much. And maybe it's for the
doesn't dig
best.
syrup.
She has no interest. She will gladly fully love a dry pancake. Like I've seen her do it. I'm like, this is crazy.
What
But
about butter on the pancake?
Butter definitely, for sure.
Okay.
But I just think, as a person like myself, prone to eating like a fourth grader sometimes, any reason for me not to, meaning like the lack of syrup, is probably a good thing for me at this point.
I think we can jump on that. You had mentioned diving into fruit and going down that road. This isn't diving in, it's just my vice is cookies. Anytime there's cookies around, I can't say no.
Mad respect.
And when someone's like whispers, like they did something bad, they're like, I had like 3 cookies last night. No joke. I'm like, I had like 17 cookies last night.
Yeah.
And I don't feel any different. Like I'm totally
I feel you. I just have like it's the same reason why I had to stop drinking. I just have I feel like I've now labeled myself, and I feel like the best label that I've, through all of the way too much self-analytical thinking that my mind does, I've now labeled myself a sensualist. Like I feel like everything in my life, I just want to like full tilt it, like full tilt the sensation of things. So it is great in some capacity, but terribly dangerous in others. Of like, I could sit down and do the exact same. Like I there's just no limit. If I'm hungry, like I don't eat. I try not to. I try not to eat too much, because if I let the beast out of its cage, I mean, there's just like there's no food left in the house. I just start and just go. And I'm like, there's no like, there's finally a point where I'm like, maybe I should stop eating. So like being a sensualist, I completely relate, because there's been many full things of Oreos in the past that start, and but then I'll get guilty like 7 in. But then I just keep returning. I just keep going back. And then it's like, maybe we try to make, I kind of want to live to be a decent age. So I'm beginning to get to that point in my life where I'm like, I need to start making those sad decisions of health. Like I exercise a lot now, or I try to at least, but it's just so fun to eat bad food. It's just so fun that it's hard
And it's
to
easy. And it's easy
it's
to eat
so
bad
easy
foods.
and it's so fun, and it's just like, so we do a treat yourself. We try to do it once a week. We're just like, if we hold away from this too much, so we always have one time a week where we just have a blast with eating. Like a total blast.
I try to be very diligent aside from around like events or vacations or like birthdays, you know? So
Yeah.
if there's like, okay, I know in a month it's someone's birthday or I'm going somewhere. So this, like leading up to it, I'm going to be very good. You know, I'm going to eat my
Yep.
veggies and work out a bunch. But that, because I know like when we go do a live show somewhere, I'm just gonna, like, the first thing we do is like, where are the donuts? Where are the cookies? Like the best cooked cupcakes in town,
Yeah.
you know?
I have an issue too of like, I also have an ability, it's probably just deep mental instability I have to deal with, but I can go for like 2 days and not eat, just be totally fine. Like it just turns, my metabolism is so slow. I've just gone like, which wasn't very good in my partying days, because I would like play the concert and then just jump right into the fun, and the tour manager would be like, you have not eaten since the morning. I'm like in Europe or something, like, I don't know, man, I'm just gonna go for it. But
You haven't eaten
and
since
then
London. That was a month ago.
yeah, I think I didn't eat for like 2 days around Primavera once. Just like, I got other stuff to live for. That's not my, the eating will come.
Well, you know what's funny is you keep referring to these like in a slight negative thing, like these issues or these things, and I'm like, I love this guy. Like, I want to be like, this is the best. You know, I like something about the solidarity. I was like, okay, we're so similar. We're gonna be okay.
And it is like, it's good to learn. Like I'm having it's either a midlife crisis or a midlife expansion. I'm not sure which one. It might be both, I think. But I am just like dealing with like, time is like catching up to me. And there's just like a lot of things. Like I find recently that like my things slip away, like interests, things I thought I was going to be into the rest of my life. I'm just not that into anymore. And it's a really weird sensation for me to, because like I'm a pretty passionate person, and I just don't have like things I thought I was going to be into ever. I'm like, I'm not really that into it anymore. Like I thought I was going to be. And then you start dealing with like, what am I doing next? Like I'm kind of in this in between zone of like, what's phase 2 going to be? Looking forward to seeing like what I get into or whatever. But yeah.
It sounds like you're doing cool shit. So the new album, there was a line in the press release that Allison sent us. It was something about joy. What is it? Embracing joy or something for the new record. And I don't, it was great. I'm so stoked for the new record.
Joy is really wild, because joy, I don't think, is connected to what we perceive as emotions.
Mhm.
I think emotions are like least in my experience, very fleeting. They're circumstantial, and they happen in the moment, whether the full spectrum of emotions. But joy is something different, in from what I've learned. And like, I think joy is like, I listen to a lot of Ram Dass, and Ram Dass talks about equanimity, and equanimity is like balance of feelings. And like, my joy is equanimity, which is just like, it's a calm balance, which is quite a mountain for me to climb as someone who cannot stop their brain ever.
Mm-hmm.
And like, joy comes in forms to the individual. I think everyone experiences joy in their own unique and beautiful way. But like, when I say embracing joy, I think my joy that I refer to is balance.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, not too hot, not too cold, just like here in the moment. And it's as rare as like a double rainbow for me. But when it does happen, it's just awesome. And I've been, unfortunately, joy directly combats with releasing a record. This is not my like, it's so funny. This is when I have to do interviews, because I turn into like a primordial state when it's in the process of like releasing an album. Is such a weird, vulnerable time in my life that I always find like, if people were to interview me like 6 months before the release or 6 months after, I'd be this like pretty balanced individual. But the usually the least amount of joy I have is in the process of releasing something that I made. It's just an extremely weird time, but I definitely encourage people to embrace joy.
Wow.
Little truth bomb.
Well, truth bomb also, like, I struggle. This is just, honest vulnerability right now. Doing this show, I struggle with, okay, now talk. And I have nothing to say that's going to even come close to that. So I'm going to just shut up. That's something else I'm working on. Just shut the fuck up.
Yes. Yes. I feel like I feel like I am an introvert walking around in an extrovert's avatar most of my life. So like, I was born as a pretty thinking, kind of like, I was always a goofy kid, but I just climbed into this robot known as extroverted nature. And I just feel like I can't get out of the shackles of that most of the time. Like I have this incessant need to like, I never want people to feel uncomfortable, but so that's kind of what I feel like is driving it. I want everyone to feel good and feel comfortable, but in reality, it's just like, I say that a lot. I take up a lot of oxygen wherever I am. Like I enter a room and it's just like, I'm exhausted with me. And it's kind of what this record is. Like I got so exhausted with me. I just was like, I'm so tired of being me. It's just exhausting hearing this voice and constant talking and constant need for making the 3D chess even more complicated of existence, when back to the joy should just be like, I'm just kind of trailing off here, but I had when we announced the record, this Miracle Focus means an enormous amount of my life, almost to the point where I'm not sure if I should have released it. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm still debating that, because it's kind of like it's like my personal manual or like treasure map to bliss in my life. And it's been a difficult one to put out there, because and I mean this, I'm not trying to sound like Kurt Cobain or something, but like, I didn't make this as a product.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't make this as something to like sell. Like, I probably should have just put it up on Dropbox. But anyways, I feel like the entirety of this record kind of started because I did an interview or something with my last record, and I said, I'm exhausted with myself. And then the second that came out of my mouth, it like imprinted in my mind. And then instead of it being a negative thing, I was like, yeah, you can be exhausted with yourself. I can just kind of like break up with the perceived persona or whatever narrative I had constructed over 38 years, you can get exhausted with it and just be like, I'm going to just kind of become less me,
Mm-hmm.
not even trying to form a new identity, just kind of quiet whoever that is. But the pattern I can't stop, as both of you are witnessing, is there's just a waterfall of words that just never. I can't believe I sleep. My wife says I make a lot of noise when I sleep too. So it's just constantly moving.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I can't wait to have you back. Whenever the next record comes out, we'll have you back then too. There's just we didn't even get to all the questions because this is so fun and easy and natural and casual. Like, no joke. There's probably, we usually start with like 20 to 30 questions. I think we only got to half of them. But we'll say,
I mean, is there any big ones that I missed? I talked so much.
I'll hit you
about random shit.
with two big ones and then a request. One, what song? We always end an episode with a song from the artist. What song do you want us to end this episode with?
One of my songs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I guess Party at Monster Lake. I love that jam.
Okay. It's a great song. Love it. And then if you could ask any musician, live or dead, really stupid questions like these, who would you bother?
I would absolutely love to hang out with either Louis Armstrong or Jerry Garcia. I think.
Whoa.
And just have a great laugh with them. I think it would be fun to just have a great time with them.
And then ask him about Miracle Whip.
Yep, exactly. What's your favorite food, Louis? Mr. Armstrong?
Oh, man. And then the last request is whenever you extend the tour, I feel like that's an inevitability. Come to Florida. We'll buy you hot coffee in the hot Florida heat.
I got to get back there. I just have to get back. We'll see. We'll see about touring. It's weird out there. That's a whole other podcast. The state of touring in 2024, and in parentheses, my desire to do it anymore.
Oh,
another parentheses, which is low. So,
all right. Well, then it'll make, if it ever happens, it'll make it even more special.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Tim, this has been more than fun. This has been solidified.
An absolute blast.
Dude,
Full
we can't
truth.
think, what's next? So no, like, we won't touch on tour, but what's next for you? This is your moment to promote or do whatever, say whatever the fuck you want.
I have this record, and then I'm either going to dive heavily back into painting, which I did for a long time, or I think I'm going to challenge myself to, like, I've got some kind of book swimming up here. My mind keeps going to a book, so I might take a little break from music and do some other stuff.
Whoa, I feel like we just got some exclusive inside access. Fucking A.
Who knows? It's just good to chat. It's good to, like, you in the shorts. You got to keep it interesting as you get older.
Yeah, you gotta be open to change, you know?
Yeah.
Newness. What a great show.
This is killer.
Special place. We're rolling like an earthquake, hoping I won't be the same. It's just something about the rain. Something about the rain. Something about the rain. Something about the rain. Over at the Hero's Way, we're swimming in the monster's lake. Critter, you can call my name. Critter, you don't need the shade. Going all the way down. It's just something about the rain.